week at noon, and let me know how the audio sounds. We're trying a new wireless setup today. So I want to start with the question of how long does eBay take? So a lot of people have asked me like, what time frame do they need? Do they need 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, hour a day? So I think realistically for people who have a full-time job, you should not allocate more than 2 hours a day to eBay because it's not really realistic. You have potentially a family to deal with, you have 8 hours of work, and you have maybe an hour of commute time. And when you add all that together, if you have a full-time job, it's not really reasonable to expect more than 2 hours per day. We did have a comment come in from a tile layer that said that he works 55 hours a week. On the way home from work, he sources, comes home, lists 5 items a day. Before he goes to work in the morning, he ships 5 items a day. So he's at Reseller Nirvana, which is where you list and sell the same number of items a day. I would guess his store is probably 300 or 400 items big, and he's selling about 5 a day. So that business is really compact. It's like half an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, maybe an hour and a half in the evening if you count the sourcing. So that's 2 hours per day, and he's just learning, and that's at 5 listings per day to just learn. When you really understand all the different processes, I think that in 2 hours, the maximum I have seen is 20 listings on the high end. That's about 10 listings per hour for someone who's part-time. When you're full-time, things start to speed up because there's economies of scale and you start doing things over and over again and it starts to get pretty fast. There's some questions?
Oh, just people saying hello.
What's up, everyone?
Hello.
So throw your questions into the chat and we'll go over it. But essentially, I think if you're full-time, I think an average eBay day is probably 4.5 hours on the high end, 2.5 hours on the low end of processing all the stuff that we're doing in the shop here. And then most of the time is actually looking for profitable items because it's not that easy to find items that are high profit in volume. So I think people totally misunderestimate that. Most of eBay is looking for things to sell. So let's see, what other questions have we gotten? We've gotten, what's the best way to get started? So we are gonna do a really, really beginner tutorial, like how to get an eBay account. We're just gonna do one of those. So this channel, I think it's pretty basic, but some people say it's already really advanced. So we're definitely gonna do one really long video on how to set up the account. Literally me listing one item, just one item, because I did do this series where we listed 10 items out in Jack London Square, which I thought was really fun. A lot of people did find value in me listing the items on my phone one by one and how my thought process was and why I'm picking certain things and adding certain things to the title, pricing. So people enjoyed that. And we're gonna do more product research where we sit on a computer together and look for profitable items together.
We have a question from Simple Steve.
Yep.
How often do you deal with animal hair on clothing, especially like the vest that you're wearing?
So that's a good question. I would say rarely. So I look through around 40,000, maybe a little more than that, between 40 and 80,000 pieces of clothing each week. I look through it. 99% of it has been washed. So we also have a process at the end where we wash it. And if it has too much animal hair on it, or I think is it called dandruff? I don't know the word for the fluff and what that's called, dander maybe. I don't pick it up if it has too much hair on it because it's too difficult to remove. All of our stations have that rolly thing, a rolly pin thing that pulls the lint off. So
Lint roller?
lint roller. So a lint roller, if you go quickly through the process, you will remove stuff off of it, even a vest like this.
We got a question from John Rogers. Can you show us how to create a listing template?
Yes, so we're gonna do a separate video on how to create a listing template, but essentially there is a link, which if you email me, I'll send it to you, but there's a link on the eBay page that's called Create a Listing. It's actually on your active listing page. So go to eBay, click active listing. On the right side, it'll be create a listing. Click on that link, and at the bottom of the page, it'll say create listing template. Click on that and then pick the category that you are in. So I guess it's not really a secret, but for me, I list mainly in just 6 categories. So I have 22 templates, but I mainly just sell in 6 categories.
Question from Devin. Are fees the same rate if you charge flat rate shipping or calculated?
Yes, so fees are based on the total amount, including shipping and including tax. That's why I recommend doing the 100 listing challenge that I have. That's bit.ly/100 listing challenge. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that link if you go there, it will show you how the fees are calculated, and this is really important. If you do this exercise where you just do 100 items, you can start it at any time, and you'll fully understand how the fees work. Also, if you have a store subscription, there's a little bit more complication because you have to pay monthly for the store subscription, but it lowers your final value fees. So that's even more complicated because you pay more upfront to get less fees after. So something to think about when you're starting a store.
Lots of questions from TG. All right, I see you. How do you match your cogs to what's sold?
Okay, so a couple of things. You guys can super chat and we'll try to answer your
Yeah.
questions a little bit earlier, but how do I match my cost of goods sold? For me, I do an average cost. So as an example, if I buy $1,000 worth of stuff a month, I actually just do categorically $1,000 for cost of goods sold on my accounting. But if I bought 500 items and spent 1,000, my cost of goods would be $2. So that's how I do it. I don't do per item because all of my items I purchase through bulk.
Mm. Let's see. I wanted to ask. There was a question up here. Basically, the question was, oh yeah, from Jordan. How do you know you're ready to go full time?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I recommend having a regular job and doing this on the side as long as you possibly can. Actually, maybe even forever. I have a friend in Minnesota who, for 3 years, he had a full-time job and a 15-a-day listing habit. That's actually my favorite. So depending on what your needs are, if you have a family, I recommend at least 6 months of savings, just in case you don't find anything for a couple of months, you're still okay. And also, one thing I do like people to have, and I know this is like an unpopular answer, but I like you to have at least $12,000 to $15,000 saved for a big purchase. When you go thrifting, sourcing, flea market, garage sales, eventually you're gonna run into someone who's like, I need to sell all of it and I'm moving. So that's happening to me on Saturday. So just a reminder for everyone, the tickets to my event are $50 and you get one of the reseller lots at the event. So, and I've already purchased all of them. So by random, you would get one of the lots. If you're not in California, it's going to be in Dublin, California, then we will ship it to you and I'll charge you the shipping. But the point of that event is to price all those items, and I want people to be ready. So I recommend you have 6 months of savings and 10 grand ready to buy a big lot of something that you find. And even then, I'm not really sure you should be full-time, but I guess it's different for everyone. But when you've mastered all the different processes and you get an idea of what it's like to be full-time, then maybe switch over. And one more thought on that is the tile layer who was doing 5 listings in the morning. That gentleman was saying he's going to take 1 month off of his job and try full-time to get an idea. But honestly, I think it takes longer than 1 month of full-time to really see if you're getting it or not.
Okay, question from Jason Foley.
Mm-hmm.
Please, Chris, I've had this question forever.
Yeah.
Is it better to schedule items throughout the day or all at 6 p.m.
Okay,
Pacific?
so if you ask eBay, they will tell you the answer, the official answer from eBay is post when your customers are most active. So that means they get the notification that there's a new listing. If they're searching for that specific keyword, they hop on, buy it. Now, the thing is, that could be any time. So it's more important to post them every single day than it is at a specific time of day because you get a 24-hour boost. So a 24-hour boost means it covers you for the whole day. So they may not get that notification until the afternoon or whenever your customer comes on. But for me personally, I recommend launching all your daily listings at the same time. I've had more success with that than evenly distributing them out throughout the day. So as an example, you could do 24 listings, 1 new live listing every single day to drip eBay and let them know, hey, I'm active all day long. But I don't know. I would rather launch all 24 at the same time, and it doesn't matter if it's morning or afternoon because you get a 24-hour boost.
Question from Airino.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true if you receive an offer and you don't like it to just leave it there till the offer ends instead of declining it right away?
Okay, so this is how it works in the algorithm. Every single activity gives you a boost in the ranking. So if you get an offer, that means your item is hot. People like it, they're interested in it, you shoot an offer, it'll move up in the ranking. If you counter offer, that's another boost in the rank. If you counter offer and they counter offer again, it keeps moving up the ranking because it's more popular. More activity means your item is better. So that's why I don't recommend declining the offer or ignoring the offer because that stops the chain, stops getting more popular. For me personally, You guys know I do have auto decline and auto accept turned on, and I'm okay with getting less sales because of an auto decline. But if you're not okay with that and you're trying to get as many sales as possible, leave your best offer on and don't have any parameters. Except for you could do auto accept, but I don't want you to spend too much time on that. I want you to spend time listing an additional item instead of worrying about the offers.
Thank you, TJ, for the super chat. He gave $1.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see. More questions.
Yeah.
Wiki Domain, hey Chris, for those of us still using the bin system, I recall you saying the best way is sorting the items by date. Can you elaborate on that exact process, please?
Sure. So the bin system is the same as my box system. So as long as you have the items standing up like a file and then going backwards, what I mean by chronological is have the items in your boxes. Sorry for the alarm. Give me a second.
Our daily challenge.
So as far as the way the items are organized, the earlier the number, the smaller the number, the older the item. I recommend you post your items in the same order that they're in your store. So for me, the oldest number is number 1. That was the first item I listed. Going all the way up to, in this new system, we're at 11,000 now. So 11,000 is newer. So it doesn't matter what size boxes you are, just put them in order of how you listed them. That way in your email, you have this email that says your eBay listing is confirmed. If you have that email and you lose your item, so you lose item number 1000, you have the email for 999 and the email for 1001. You can go find wherever those are, and your missing item will probably be in between those two.
There was a question about this coming Saturday, whether if they're coming in person, if they can buy more than one lot.
Yeah, you can. So if you can come, there's somebody that purchased 3 of the lots already. So just buy an extra ticket and you will get one more entry into the random raffle. And then afterwards, I don't think the event will sell out, and I'm not too worried about that because it is still COVID season. So I don't want a super spreader event on my hands. So I'm okay if only 30 people or 20 people show up. So if the event doesn't sell out, I've already purchased all the lots, but you can buy more than one. You can buy 20 if you want to get all of them.
Question from NW Purple Sparkles. How do you handle customer return for bad smell in clothing?
Okay, so anything related to smell, fit, don't like it, all of those reasons, I just have free returns. So they can just open up a return, send it back for any reason. If it's my fault, I pay for the return shipping. If it's not my fault, I don't refund the original shipping, but I accept any returns for any reason.
Thank you for the super chat, Lester Smith. He says, thanks, Chris. You always give great tips.
Appreciate that.
Let's see. Another question from TJ, or TG. How long were you doing eBay before you could pay yourself?
So I don't know if you guys know, but my salary in my eBay store is $50,000. So my goal is to list 50,000 items this year, and it's $1 per listing. I would recommend you spend at least 2 years not paying yourself, because if you can do that and reinvest the profit, you limit your tax exposure because you put the money back in the new inventory. And the way that I accrue for costs, I accrue for the cost of goods up front. So that reduces my tax liability. If you do that for a couple of years, you'll have a big enough inventory so that you can pay yourself a salary. And that salary has to be reasonable per the IRS. So for example, if the IRS audited me and they came over here and I said, I only deserve $5,000 per year, but I work here every day, they would be like, sorry, that's not reasonable. And they would basically increase my salary to a reasonable one, or somebody else that has a similar job. So I would say that most people don't need to file a corporation. You can just be a sole proprietor. You're a sole proprietor by default. So that means you don't need to open a business. You sell one item, you're a sole proprietorship. So that item, you probably don't pay yourself a salary yet until you're really like a corporation. That's more like at I think it starts to make sense in California once you start making $80,000 profit. And I'm not a CPA, so don't listen to my tax advice, get professional help. But the reason why you would pay yourself a salary that's set and below the total profit is because you get self-employment tax of 18% when you work for yourself. So when I pay my workers a salary, they are not subject to 18% self-employment tax, but I am, because I'm the owner. So I pay double tax. I pay tax on my wages and self-employment 18% tax. And I'm in California, so we have that crazy 10% state tax.
Question from Conflict Diamond. Hey Chris, I'm new here, but do you do your own marketing for your listing? And if so, how do you go about it and what would be the price range you would spend on marketing your items?
I do. So my main marketing is just what it is. So keywords. So I sell Nike. Nike ranks itself. Nike does all the heavy lifting with $1 billion advertising budget each year. I do also do promoted listings. My main promoted listings rate is 1.1%. So what that does is it helps me rank higher. So this is kind of secret sauce. So I appreciate you guys if you like the video. The secret sauce is you want to get into the top 4 listings. So top 4 listings is above the fold on Google. So that means somebody searches Nike, you're in the first 4 results. To do that, right, you have to have best item, best price, most desirable thing, or you can just pay for that slot with promoted listings. So however more comfortable you are with that rate, the higher your rate, the easier it is to get into the top 4. So you have to determine your risk tolerance for how much you want to spend for that.
Question from the Grand Exchange. What is the best thing to do after USPS loses my package? The customer wants a refund.
So if the post office loses your package, it's on you. So you have to file the claim with the post office as long as you have a acceptance scan by a real person. So the scan form does not count. That counts as far as like it puts an entry on USPS.com of where the package was delivered to the post office. But until a human scans it, there's no acceptance scan. But if a human scans it and it says accepted and they lose it, then you're eligible for a shipping refund. So if the USPS loses your package immediately, not immediately, but after the period of time, it could be 7 days or 1 month, then refund them their entire amount and you will not get a ding on your eBay account because you did what you could do. Then file a claim with the post office. I haven't had too many issues getting a refund from the post office. A lot of people complain about that system, but honestly, they complain about everything. That's like not a difficult process to get your money back. It just takes a long time.
Question from FB. I lost my top rated seller. How do I find out why?
So inside of your seller hub, there will be a section and it will go over the parameters for losing your top rated status. And it could either be you have a case against you because you didn't close a case on time. You could be shipping too slow and items not received on time. You could be not getting your items scanned at the post office. That can harm your top rated seller status. So it will tell you in your seller hub, and you can just Google eBay seller hub and it'll take you to that link and it'll tell you exactly what the reasons are. But there's 3 or 4 reasons why you may have lost your top rated status. And being above standard is okay, but being below standard gives you suppressed listings. So we did a search, somebody who was below standard. We typed in their item, which was an old navy denim jacket. We were not able to find it. So basically eBay had hidden that listing because that customer, that eBay seller was below standard.
Question from Diana. Hi Chris, what's your favorite tax write-off?
My favorite tax write-off is probably mileage. It's really straightforward. How many miles you drove, you get 50, 56, 58 cents per mile written off. I like the idea of the Section 179 tax write-off, which is you get to write off the entire car if it's over 6,000 pounds or something like that. But I don't need a car of that size other than maybe if I were to get an eBay Sprinter. And Christine and I started touring the country we were talking about reseller nightmares where we show up at your house and take over and tear everything down and redo the whole thing. That I could write off the entire vehicle the year that I buy it. That's a cool write-off that I don't need. But that would be cool if I were to say, I have the new eBay truck, we're coming to your house. That would be awesome. I could write off the whole car the year that I buy it, even if I finance. So I could put $10,000 down, but write off $60,000 for the truck. So that's something that's cool, but totally unnecessary.
Thank you, TG, for another super chat.
Awesome.
I saw a question whether there was an update on how you are going to sell your Pokemon cards.
Oh, so, okay, this is a little controversial, but I'm thinking about just listing 3 cards and then sending all my cards to my friend to sell from me on consignment. Because I'm big on niching down and just doing one specific category. And as much as I like cards, I'm not sure I want to do that to add it to my niche. I think it would be easier for me to just double the women's clothing that I sell than to add Pokemon, which is totally different inventory system, different listing system, which I would probably want to use a scanner if I could to avoid taking pictures. And also people want to know now if the cards are good to be graded. They want to know what they're buying. So I'm a little worried about adding another niche and another way to take photos and another listing process. And I personally don't have a database of every single Pokemon card. And my friend does have a database of every single Pokemon card. So sending it to him, it's like, it would take him just a few, like 2 days to list thousands of cards. So I feel like that would be a better use of my time. But, I'm also interested in just how the process works. So I'll probably be listing them one by one with my phone.
Second part to WikiDMain's question about the organizing bins.
Yeah.
When organizing my items by date in the bin, am I designating each item with its own SKU number or
Yep.
writing the actual date on it?
You could do actual date, but that's going to be confusing when another year goes by. So if you did September 9th, and then you could go September 9th number 1, September 9th number 2, September 9th number 3, and organize your date like that. What I would recommend if you're going to do that is also include the year, and then it would be fine. You could do that system. So September 1st number 1, September 1st number 2, September 2nd number 1, and then just do that system. For me, it's easier to go 1 through a million. That's why I picked the SKU system that's just one number, because the date requires me to think, and that would be difficult to print out. So if I did the date system, I'd have to hand write September 2nd, and then I'd have to put that in my custom SKU, and that's a little too much work.
Let's see, question from Glenda Crump. When you talk about having your own template, are you saying that you have a template for a type of item or a brand or something else?
It depends. So for the most popular brands that I have, like I said, I have 22 templates. So if I'm selling, let's say Nike is the brand I'm selling, and I sell lots of Nike, I might have a template just for Nike. But for me, that doesn't make sense because the Nike items I got would all be in different categories. So I would recommend like a category of jeans, dress pants, pants, skirts, button-down tops, Legos. Those would be different categories that I would pick.
Let's see, for Jason Fully. He's saying at 1.1% promoted listing for each listing, you will appear in the Google search results? Please clarify.
Only if that is the rate that will give you that. So you're buying placement. So if I bid 1.1 for that placement, but then somebody down the street bids 1.2, they get the slot, not me. So you have to determine what is worth it for you to rank. Some people do trending. I've seen as high as 40%. So that's a lot. That means if you have a $10 sale, you pay 13% of the normal sale, which is $1.30, plus your promoted listings rate of $4. So on that $10 sale, now you're paying $5.30 to sell that item. For me, that's too rich for my blood. I can't afford a 40% promoted listings rate. So I like 1.1%, but to be honest, when I turn off promoted listings, it doesn't affect my store that much. So I'm already priced really well in my store, so I don't need that additional bump. I'm showing up organically. So there's one promoted listing. There's 3 other ones. So I show up all the time as the top one and one of the top 3 listings. So above the fold is the top 4. That's what we're trying to do here. That's what everybody, and honestly, we have our Patreon group. And if you look at the top 4 listings in almost every single category, it's people in our group. So like, I don't know, eBay should be eBay should be buying me a jet actually because of how much money I've made them, because all the best listings on eBay are people in our group. That's really crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do a little quick plug on the group?
Oh yeah, we'll do a quick plug on the
asking
group.
about.
So the group is at patreon.com/the resellers podcast. If you join the Facebook group, how I recommend you do it is talk about, I'm having trouble with sourcing. I'm only buying antique dolls. And if that's your niche, everyone will jump in and figure out how to help you get antique dolls. So it just depends on what you are doing. Don't just say, I need help, because then we might kick you out of the group. That's too vague. We need a specific thing that we can help you do. That's the best way to use the group. Join the Facebook part of it.
A couple questions about whether you recommend listing on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
I know we already
I know.
talked
No,
about that, but
and I got in trouble. I get in trouble for talking about this. It's like that people hate when I say you only should list on one platform. But here's the thing. Let's say you have 2 units of time. If you list 2 items, you have 2 chances of making money. Let's say they're both $10 profit. So it's $20 profit now. 1 listing per hour, 2 hours. If you do 1 hour of listing one item and then the other hour paying a service to help you list on another platform, and you sell the item, you still only have $10 profit. You just paid a service money to make you less money. So the way I look at it is spend all your time listing more items instead of paying for a service to list on another platform and still making the same. So in one scenario, you made $20. In the other scenario, you made $9 because you have only one $10 item and you paid $1 to list it on two items in two different platforms. So would you, if you can cross list if you like $9 more than 20. So I can't stop people from wanting that.
Question from Daniel Gomez.
Yep.
I am mainly a toy seller and I got gifted a 200 lot of industrial parts with good profit. Should I make a new store and list these, or can I list under my current store?
Same store. I see stores with designer handbags and vitamins. It doesn't matter, especially if you're not going for a long term. If you are a toy seller and your store is called Bryce's Toys, try to list mainly toys because that is your niche and your customers coming back to your store will want that. But once in a while, I listed a Vitamix blender, a soccer ball, a recorder, Pokemon cards, all in the same store. Running two different stores really sucks. I did the Reseller Nirvana store and was running two stores and I hated that. So one store, you'll sell through the one-off. Also, another question about how that tax is recorded. If you inherit something, you can do a cost of goods of 0 and record the whole profit, or you can use the cost of goods as the current market value of the item. Again, there are more tax rules than that, but that's like a basic overview. Your grandma gives you a $200 blanket. You could put $200 as the cost or 0, but again, ask your CPA.
Question from the Wild Flipper. How long do you give a buyer for non-payment?
I think it's set up on my store for 4 days. So after 4 days, it sends them the cancellation and it goes into the cancellation folder and I have to relist the item. You can turn that off. I think it can go up to 30 days, but your mileage may vary.
Thank you for the super chat, BR. His question is, hi Chris, I hope you are well. I am listing vintage sweaters that don't have brands. Would you recommend listing them without a brand or as the brand option, vintage or unbranded?
I would not list vintage unbranded. I would go to the local shop. That's not going to be easily found on eBay because like a really sweet sweater with a bald eagle on it, perched on an American flag, eating a squirrel. That's awesome, but no one's going to be able to find that in the search ranking unless it's like Harley. So if it doesn't have the brand, it will not sell. So sell it locally for $50 at the local flea.
Let's see, another question from Jason. Would it be good to have a replenishable store and a one-off store, or would you say just to combine them?
Okay, you can only do one or the other. So earlier we were reviewing an app and it was helping us do, like let's say for example, Pokemon. This Bulbasaur we found in a listing. The person had sold 984 Pokemon. So the 984 Pokemon plush was a replenishable, and from us, it looked a little bit questionable whether or not they were authentic Pokemon toys. My guess is they were not authentic Pokemon toys because the faces were a little bit off and it was just questionable also because of the price. They were $10.84 including shipping, free returns. That's very cheap for a legit Pokemon plush because when I was in Japan, I bought a Gengar. It was $40 from a toy store. That was the retail price. So Pokemon has to make some money too. When you buy it for $2, I feel like that's what we figured you had to pay for the Pokemon for it to be profitable, $2. So how much money is Nintendo and Pokemon making when you only pay $2? So that's why I think it wasn't legit. So if you're gonna play the one-off game, it's gonna be all of your focus figuring out how to source authentic items. I don't know one person, honestly, out of thousands of resellers that does both. You either do really well in one-offs or you do really well selling replenishables. Doing both is, I'll just say it's impossible.
I know there's a couple questions about like whether you're thinking getting a warehouse is more like better than just more storage units? Or?
Yeah, I think a warehouse would be nice. I mean, the minimum contracts that I have seen are usually 3 to 5 years, so I have to really be ready to do a long-term commitment. I am comfortable getting a warehouse. It's similar pricing. Where I'm at, I like the security of the storage unit. That's really one of my biggest concerns. I don't want to get broken into and have my equipment stolen. That's just an issue where I live. So I don't know. It's also something I would consider if I could buy a warehouse. That would be cool. But again, it's a little more expensive here in the Bay Area. And I think that I might want to cap the size of my store because of how much more expensive it is here, how much more the cost of living is here. I might just cap it and have a smaller store of things that sell faster.
Hmm. Question from Kim. I do pretty much 100% auctions. Would you suggest starting a set price or a store? Most of my auctions are unique and hard to set a buy it now price.
That's interesting. They have the POA pricing, pull out of your ass pricing for random items that have no price. I don't mind having auctions. Let's say that you get a plush like this and you don't know the actual value, so you start it at $17.99, 7-day auction. That way you get at least $17.99, which is the lowest you're willing to accept on the item. But then you might lose out on somebody who just wants to buy it for $14.99. Would you just accept to buy it now? So I don't recommend the 100% auction store because overall you're going to get less money than buy it now and waiting. But it depends on what kind of items you have. I have a friend that's 100% auctions as well. They do $5 million a year. I have friends that never do auctions, millions of dollars a year. So it depends on the type of item and the category. Using TerraPeak, you can search the traffic. So how many people are looking for your widget, right? So whatever it is, your tchotchke, how much search volume is going to dictate whether or not auctions will do well. But I would say, unless you're selling something very desirable, I would not use auctions at all.
Question from Bobby288. How much is good customer service to prevent negative feedback worth when it comes to rude buyers or scammers?
So for me, the fastest or the best way to reduce negative feedback is fast response. So when I was 28,000 items big, it was very difficult to respond to customers quickly. That's where all my negative feedback came from. Now that I'm smaller and it's more manageable, I respond to customers basically immediately. There are no issues. And by immediately, I mean in the same time of day. They respond in the morning, I respond in the morning. They respond in the evening, I respond in the evening. If I get something at night, I don't respond till the morning and it's usually fine. But if 24 hours goes by without you responding, then you go for it. So somebody sent me an email saying they were heartbroken that I have negative feedback. Negative feedback is not going to harm your account that much. I'm not heartbroken. I wish my feedback was better, but when my store was really big, it was honestly very hard to answer the questions, and that's something that I needed to improve on my side. But all negative feedback really comes from not responding quickly.
Question from FB. I think I didn't ask this yet.
Mhm.
Lost top rated because of item not arriving on time.
Yeah.
eBay removed most defects except for 2. Why don't I get top rated back?
It can take a few days for it to fix itself, and you might have to wait until the next period. It's just the way the eBay system works. It's so big that those changes don't immediately affect it. And usually when they say they're going to remove it, they don't do anything. So that's just been my experience. They're so big. I would call back and just make sure, because I feel like each time I call the eBay rep, they didn't talk to the previous eBay rep, so they don't know.
Question from I Grew Some. Hi, Chris. Question. I sold a rare sealed Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
They are canceling before it arrived. They changed their mind, but opened it and requested a refund. eBay told me to refund, so I did, but feel like I took a loss.
You can refund up to 50% if you have top rated sellers plus in like 1 day handling, free returns or something. You can give the customer back 50%. That's how I would handle it, and then eBay will refund them the additional 50%. If you don't have free returns, you have to refund the entire amount and just take one for the team. There's no way to avoid that. If a customer can literally buy something, use it, and return it back to you, and you have to give them a full refund. You just have to do a good enough job that you can ask eBay to front you the money when that happens, and that just comes from volume. Every time I ask eBay to delete a problem, they just get rid of it because there's such a history of doing the right thing that they don't worry about it.
Question from Orsby Crenshaw. Been
Yep.
selling for 10 years full time, but I'm stuck at around 80K. I need to get to 100K this year. If I join your mentorship, is there someone that can look at my store for advice?
Yeah. So for any level, post your group, post your schedule, and then post your store and let us know what the problems are. It can be as easy as you list 25% more items. But if you've been doing it for 10 years, you might be stuck in a rut. You might need to change it up a little bit. And what that usually entails is removing like the bottom 25% of your store of stuff that really sucks and then replacing it with 25% more of the stuff that is selling. And it actually is that simple, but hard to execute. Simple is not easy.
Question from James. What's your best advice for selling an item quicker than having it in inventory for, let's say, a month or two?
Lower your price. So the best option generally is lower the price. It will sell quicker and move on to something that doesn't have that problem.
Question from Eric. Can you demonstrate your process during a live photo shoot and listing an item of clothing?
I have that. We just did that series where I photograph 10 items in person and list 10 items, and it takes me 43 minutes to do 10 sets of photos and 10 listings, knowing nothing about the items, all random. If I do it myself, all things that I already list, it only takes around 30 minutes. So it took maybe 50% longer to do items I had never done before. That's actually probably a really good rule of thumb. If you are good at listing, you can list anything, but it takes about 50% as long. Not double, but just a little bit longer to research and figure out if you have the right pricing keywords.
Question from Simple Fit Life. Hi, Chris. Been watching since 10K on the Bay.
Awesome.
Great content.
Thank you.
Do you think you will ever move out of the Bay Area?
Maybe. So my in-laws here, so my grandma is here for the baby. So I like that a lot. So that's something that I will probably not move because she is here. So I don't have much family, so that's something that's important to me. And I can. It is interesting. I would consider myself slightly above middle class here, but I think if I were to move somewhere else, I'd probably be doing a little bit better. So it just depends on, I don't know. If I move out of here, there will be no family, so I don't know what I would do there. I would just do the same thing, but I don't know. I'm relatively frugal, so I can still afford to live in California.
A couple questions. People are asking if you could go over the Patreon and like the different prices and.
Sure. So the $5 Patreon, you can just listen to our podcasts. We just uploaded episode number 71. Honestly, if you want looking for the best bang per buck on the planet, that's the best one. Episode number 1 goes over how you can be successful on eBay. We also posted it on iTunes. So give us a follow on iTunes. I think it's on Spotify also. Leave a review there. We would appreciate that. But most of the information that I give on this channel is free. So I don't want to just let you guys know, like, you have to spend money. You don't have to. You can be free. $5 gets you the 71 podcasts and access to the secret podcast. And we have monthly coaching on the first Wednesday of each month, which happened to be yesterday. So that's the best deal in town. $34.99, you get the Facebook group. And that's where you post anything that you're working on, and people will help you. And then finally, the $99 group, we do 2 sessions every single month. It's totally unnecessary. It's just so you can ask us those questions in person. But honestly, it's a better deal to do the $34.99 and just write down your question, because most of the time when you write the problem, you already know the solution in your brain. But if you want to ask us that, we meet twice a month, the second and the last Wednesday of each month. And you can ask the question in person, and we will give you the same exact answer as on Facebook. So 3 tiers, $5, $35, and $99.
Sorry, Daniel, if you're still listening. I accidentally deleted all his messages.
It's all good.
Sorry, Daniel. I don't know how to get him back. Did not mean to do that. Okay, a question from Eric. Are you in like a U-Haul storage unit? What size, and how do you get power? Because they normally don't have electrical outlets.
So I'm in a commercial unit. It's called Safekeep Storage. The one that I'm in is all businesses, so it's a little bit different, and they charge for electricity. So most of the units that you see out there, U-Haul, that's for residential. So those ones don't, sometimes you get lucky and they have a light bulb, but most of the time those are just for people storing their belongings. This is for businesses. A lot of people run their business out of a unit like this. So find one that has electricity. You have to call around. It's actually quite difficult. I would say in the Bay Area where I live, I've only seen 6 different storage units with power. So that was me spending a half an hour calling around, finding out what types of things are available. I want a roll-up door. I want something that's climate controlled. And I'm looking for something that is within a certain price range. And to be honest, there are plenty of units that have a much higher ceiling, which is something that a lot of people should consider because vertical space is much cheaper. So depending on what kind of stuff you have and what kind of shelves you have, vertical is much cheaper because they just charge you based on the dimensions and not the height.
Follow up from Eric. He's asking where he can find that live listing video. That the
Is in the
one with you listing on your phone, that's a video that we have up right now. But I don't know if we have an updated video of you just doing like clothing.
I don't the one of me doing clothing is called my 90-second photo process. So you can search for that in the channel. I'm surprised that video doesn't have very many views. It's me photographing and packing an item in about 90 seconds. And I'm not even very good at it. So I just have the process laid out so it's easy. So for me, 90 seconds start to finish is normal photos. Something that I've never listed before. If it's a hard good, it's actually faster because it's easier to take a picture of a Bulbasaur than of a jacket.
And oh, there it is. A question from OC Sales Online. How long does it take you to price your item before you list it?
Okay, that's a great question. Zero. I already know what every single item in my store is priced at. So I don't have to look up anything. All of them, all the jackets, skirts, shirts, I've memorized the pricing structure. So unless something is over $60, which is almost never in the items that I buy, I don't have to look it up. If it's over $60, I'll do a quick search, but honestly, I don't care. If it's over $60, I'll still take $29.99. It doesn't matter. All my items come in at the same cost, and I'd rather just sell it immediately than wait. So zero. That's really important because a lot of people spend a lot of time researching price.
Let's see. Here's a live listing. James has another question. When starting out, do you recommend starting with one item, let's say video games, or items that are similar to video games?
I would say start around the house, sell everything that you have, and then when you're in a category, let's say you sell plush, and it sells well, keep looking for plush, and you'll start to learn all the trials or all the traits of stuff that's fake or real. And I think that's interesting because today we were looking up the Pokemon that was selling really well, 984, and trying to figure out which ones were fake and which ones were real. And I guess if the tags are circular, they can be fake. If the stitching is not quite right, it can be a fake. If it doesn't have the right trademark logo on it, it might be fake. So the more you do a specific category, the more you'll be able to figure it out.
Yes, Tyson, your comments are being posted. So if you have a question, go ahead and go for it.
And let us know again if the audio is okay and where you're calling from because we're trying the new wireless mic.
Yeah. We do have a question from Michael. Aloha from Hawaii.
What's up?
Which is cool. Could you do a video on how to use Terapeak to research clothing?
Yes, we will, but it's not necessary. So we will do a screen share where we look through Terapeak and look for different trends. I guess we can look up, is bootleg more popular than straight leg? But just because you know that doesn't mean that you're going to find it. And if you find a really good deal on a bootleg, you're still going to pick it up. So again, Terapeak, a lot of people get sucked into the research part. Not that important. It's just about sourcing quality product at volume. But again, we'll do some videos on Terapeak because a lot of people have been requesting at the desk videos, which makes me sad because we have the videographer now. But if you want me sitting at the desk researching stuff, we'll do that.
A question from Maya. When you say keywords, you list a bunch of relevant words in the description?
No, only the title. The description is nice, and Christine, the videographer, was getting on me because my YouTube videos don't have any description. So I will work on that. I will work on putting in better descriptions because that does rank, it does help, but I'm mainly a title guy. I like the title and the picture. So title, I'm a title and thumbnail guy, but the description is very important.
Question from Antonio Cross. You inspire me every day to get a bit better with my shop. I hear a lot of resellers telling me I need a listing software. Is it so? And when does it make sense to use a listing software?
So I got some heat because I told people that when you plug one, you make between $2,000 and $10,000. So for me to plug a listing service, I would make between $5,000 and $10,000. That's a lot. That's like a car. So if I were to say, hey, I plug XYZ listing company, that's how much I would charge to plug that, because the last time I did that, that company made $40,000 a month recurring revenue. So what should I charge them for that? Because a lot of those customers are still with that company. They probably made $100,000 from my one plug. So that's me suggesting that you would need a listing software, but the truth is you do not need one. So at this point, I'm doing okay, so I don't want to plug things I don't like. So I don't like listing services because you don't need them. I don't like cross-listing services because you don't need them. So I'm okay with people just watching my videos for free. The 20-second ad before that you watch the video makes me a couple cents. I'm okay with that, and I'd rather do that than plug a service that hurts people. So the listing services, the reason why they're not very good is they don't do a good job. If I recommended one that actually did a good job, then that would be great, but there aren't any because a listing service is forced to list anything. And that's the opposite of my channel. You have to list one type of thing.
Let's see. Should we do just a couple more?
We should do two more, and one more thought. I didn't realize that other channels get paid less. So when I said that, I get paid between $2,000 and $10,000 per plug, other channels were like, I only get paid $500 for that plug. So caused some problems with that. It's probably bad juju for me to tell people that you get paid a lot, but you do. When you plug a software, a cross-listing service or a listing service, you make bank. So I'm turning down lots of money to try to be honest with you guys. So two more questions.
Let's see. Question from Daniel. Do you prefer to pay for postage directly from eBay, or do you often use pirate ship?
I prefer eBay. I wish that eBay could be competitive and give me all the rates. I plug my eBay shipping to my PayPal account with a zero balance so I can get the cash back on the Capital One Spark card, which sucks because I ran out of affiliate credits for them. So I really do believe in the Capital One Spark card because you get your cash back immediately. And that is so valuable as a small seller because you get all those fees back. But I don't know. The pirate ship is not better than eBay. I timed it. It's slower. It usually costs more money. It does give you a better rate on cubic shipping. But since most of my items are under 2 pounds, eBay has a really good rate for under 2 pounds. So for me personally, eBay does pretty good.
Question from Tyson Lay. A little serious question, but if I were to pass away, what would happen to my eBay store if I had a huge number of active listings?
Most likely your family would call Goodwill and Salvation Army and they just come pick it up because your store is not, my colleague Tech and Sports calls it hit by a bus proof, which means that you get hit by a bus tomorrow, does it continue without you? So for me, it doesn't. I don't have the right things set up because I don't have a manager. You need a store manager to take over the store if you die. So I have life insurance set up. So in case I pass away, my family gets a check if I die, right? But most likely my wife would not run this store because she doesn't know how to do it. So I would have to either train a manager and she would manage the manager and be like, okay, you run the store and at the end of every month, we get this much. But since I'm currently alive, I'm managing the store. I decide what goes into the store. I launch all the listings. So if you were to die right now, most likely your store will go away. So I recommend, especially if you are married, go to a estate lawyer and ask them to set up a trust, even if like you don't have any assets. So when we set up our trust from our family, it's a personal question, but we didn't have any assets yet, but we still went and set one up. And we asked the lawyer all these questions. And the lawyer said, when you die, your kids do not want your business. They don't care. There's all these small businesses in America. Amazing pizza shop, 70 years. No one wants to run it anymore, it closes. It just goes away. So what I recommend and what my lawyer recommended is leave your kids real estate, stocks, money, and they'll love you forever. You leave them a business, they don't want that. So maybe that's a good place to stop.
Yeah. One
Oh,
final
one more.
note.
All right, one more.
Super chat. Thank
Oh,
you
awesome.
from Kamal. You have helped me so much with the whole eBay store. I see/feel the difference.
Awesome. All right, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful week. Let me know how the chat was and the audio. Thank you everyone.